And welcome back to Survivor Girl podcast. Happy Survivor Girl Sunday, my fellow Survivor brothers and sisters. Thank you for joining in. I'm so excited to be here almost every Sunday at 6 o'clock. So I have good news though. This is a whole year of episodes. One whole year of episodes. So thank you guys so much for tuning in and hanging out with me, with guests that I've had on in the past. Still working on trying to get guests on the show. But right now I'm kind of flying solo. So thank you guys for tuning in with me, talking with me about all of life's crazy events and how to thrive and survive through all these different things. I've talked a lot about things that I've gone through, am still going through, and trying to navigate through. So thank you guys for always coming in and hanging out with me. Before we get started, though, as always, there is a disclaimer. I would like to just say that I am not a trained professional. I am not a licensed doctor. I am not a licensed therapist or any of that. So I cannot I cannot prescribe or diagnose anything. It's just stuff that I talk about that I've gone through and ways that I have been able to actually navigate through it. So again, I am not able to do any of that stuff. So please do your due diligence and look up anything that I talk about tonight on the show or any back episodes or anything further from here, because I'm not able to help out with that kind of stuff, just to talk about life's experiences and hope to uplift and inspire. So again, thank you guys for tuning in. Happy to be here. It's been a very long week, but a very good week. I am just going to tune on here just to make sure I don't have anything happening in YouTube yet. Possibly. Here we go. Just want to make sure that I don't miss anybody, because I love it when you guys are joining in and say hello or share to the episode or talk about anything that we talk about on the episode. So thank you guys. I am also re-aired on solidstateradio.net and Twitch, as well as YouTube. So you can like, subscribe, and share from all of those platforms. So this week has been a little bit crazy. I'm going to kind of go back, though, and talk a little bit about last week. We talked about just rising above different things that happen, seasonal depression, different things like that. Still, this time of year, changing over, doing the time change and the different weather and everything that starts to kind of creep in. If you have ever heard of the seasonal depression, there are lights that are available that you can use throughout the day that can help with that seasonal depression disorder. I can't remember the whole thing of it, but I know that I have experienced some of that, and I have experienced that with some of my family members in the past as well. So it's something that you might want to look into. There are lights that are available to help you through this time of year. But I've experienced not being able to adjust after the time change. It's a little bit rough sometimes, and I don't know if you guys have experienced this or not. But it's also my busy season as well. So being able to navigate through the busy season and then the time change, it's a lot going on at once. So again, not complaining about it, because that is just part of life and part of the stuff that I do. And I should know after 6 seasons at Bronner's, where I work, that adjusting to a new schedule, a new routine is sometimes difficult. And I don't know if you guys have ever experienced having like your life turned upside down, or being a seasonal worker. I will go until about July. Usually we go back to work around July, sometimes the end of June, but usually July, and go until about January. Well, as the season gets busier, because I do online orders, we sometimes go until about June, or not June, January. So it's interesting because the hours get busier and busier. We're up to 10-hour shifts, and trying to juggle that with everything else. And then home life it's difficult sometimes. So, I kind of talked about trying to be patient with yourself, being kind to yourself and all of that, because it's not easy sometimes adjusting to something different. It's not easy with the holidays coming, and, some people that have experienced trauma and loss and things like that, that adds on to trying to navigate through the holiday season. So, because of experiencing some major losses in my life, now it's been for my mom, since my mom passed away, it's been about 6 years. So this is not, it's not as hard as it used to be. And there does come a time when you don't really get over it, but you start to kind of be able to navigate through the seasons and holidays a little bit differently. Dates were a really big thing for me. I had a hard time when When my mom first passed away, October 14th is when she had passed away. So every 14th of whatever month that kept on coming up, I was like, oh, it's been this many months. It's been this long. It's been, so that kind of got a little bit tedious too. But I am very big at remembering dates as far as that kind of stuff goes. But I have a hard time remembering birthdays and things like that, which makes it's really an odd thing, but that's something that happens with me. I can remember those kind of dates that impacted, and affected my life like that. But when it comes to birthdays, I have such a hard time struggling through that. And that's kind of another thing that I want to try to remind you guys. It's not easy to remember all of that stuff. So I think we get a little bit impatient with ourselves, a little bit um, we get down on ourselves about things like that. At least I know I do. When I forget things like that I know are important, it makes it very difficult. So just trying to remind everybody through the holiday season and everything else that's going on to be kind to yourselves. I got Adam checking in, sounding great. Thank you so much for checking in. And I see a couple other people filing in. So thank you guys for tuning in and hanging out with me tonight. So holiday season's upon us. It's getting cold. This is why I am dressed like this because I don't deal with the cold as well as I used to after weight loss. I get really, really cold now. So I try to bundle up as best as I can. It's been really windy out. It's darker now earlier. That's difficult. And then driving in today, we had a little bit of snow actually. And it was kind of a whiteout on the way to my destination today. So that was interesting trying to navigate through that. And myself, as somebody that has a little bit of anxiety, I get a little bit of anxiety about driving as well. So, but today I didn't really feel that. I was pretty cool about it, going, okay, this is our first snow. I'm okay with it. It wasn't really sticking on the ground or anything, kind of on the sides, but so there's all kinds of different things that we face, not only with the holidays. If you're from a state that has snow and the season change and stuff like that, that can come into play too. So not only that, but it's also cold season, cold and flu as well, on top of the coronavirus stuff that's going on. That makes it difficult as well because you start coughing and you know that it's just a cold, but people are now like, get away from me. I don't want to catch anything that you have. Whereas, before, I feel like we were a little bit more relaxed about colds. I mean, we just still didn't want to be up in anybody's face about it, but I feel it's a lot different now. I had a little bit of a cough, and going to work, I'm just like, I don't want to get lynched at work. I don't I don't want anything bad to happen while I'm at work. So we have to remember too, just because someone's coughing doesn't mean that that's what they have. But there's another fear factor right there that people are probably worried about. Oh, don't come near me, don't. So that's something else to add on top of just this weird year. This year has been very, very weird with everything that's happening. And now here we are again, moving towards possible going backwards and not being able to do certain things and whatnot, trying to regulate on holiday gatherings and everything like that. I feel like it's kind of really up to you on what you're going to do, if you're going to hang out with family or whatever it is you're going to do. I'm not judging anybody about it anymore. I tried not to do that in the very beginning because really, honestly, what it comes down to is that it's up to whoever's going to make that decision. If you're hanging out with your family, you have people over, I don't think anybody really needs to know about it because that's your business. I don't know. That's just kind of how I feel about it. Doesn't mean that that's how everybody else agrees with it. Again, this is just my opinion. Doesn't mean that that has to be your opinion. It doesn't mean that we can't get along because I have a different opinion from anybody else. So again, it's been a very crazy week this week. I started doing my 10-hour shifts at work, and this is a good reminder to make sure that you guys are boosting immune systems, getting your vitamin C and rest and everything as well, because like I said, it is cold season. Sinuses can make a huge factor on whether you get sick or anything like that. Unfortunately, Adam was going through a little bit of drainage from sinuses, and apparently if you don't blow your nose very well, you can get a sinus infection, and I didn't know that that was how that happened. So unfortunately, he ended up having a sinus infection. we weren't really worried that it was corona, but now you kind of question everything. Now I feel like we question, oh gosh, is that something that is one of the symptoms? Is this is what happened? But he got to go in to the doctor, and everything is good there. Just kind of dealing through a sinus infection, sinus drainage. It's kind of just the season change thing that happens, colds and stuff like that. Like I said, so we are definitely boosting with vitamin C and different green tea, different things like that. There's all kinds of things that you guys can look up to help boost your immune system. And that ultimately should be key no matter what time of year that it is, because anytime we can get sick from who knows what. So that's something else that this time of year is a good thing to start focusing on. And going through the holidays, I have to say a lot of us don't eat very well because there's always goodies, there's always stuff that people are trying to give us and all of that. So it is hard to stay on track with whatever it is that you're doing. Trying to do a weight loss plan or something this time of year is always difficult, but it can be done. I've experienced a lot of stuff, obviously, with weight loss back and forth, the battle throughout my life. I've had a lot of different, I've learned a lot of stuff, actually. You'd think by now, after everything that I've learned, it would be some kind of an expert level, but I still do things that are not perfect. I do a lot of things because I am human, and we've talked about that as well, of making mistakes with, weight loss, gaining weight. It's really a battle no matter what, but I feel like this time of year makes it a lot more difficult. Just got through Halloween, extra candy laying around. If you bought candy to pass out and a lot of kids didn't show up, so now you are loaded down with candy. You can always share that by taking it to work or dropping it to, neighbors. However you want to do that to try to not eat a lot of the candy, to try to keep on track. It makes it difficult. But also, again, there is a lot of things with, goodies, baked goods. It is the season for people to give baked goods out. We've got Thanksgiving coming up and Christmas and everything. Again, though, remember, guys, to not be hard on yourselves, because that right there is another setback. It makes it difficult when you are trying to accomplish and keep a goal, but you fall off track and then you are hard on yourself about it. That makes it worse, I think. So that comes with the negative self-talk as well. And that's something I kind of wanted to touch base on. It's easy for us to be very negative about our looks, about maybe gaining extra weight from quarantine or whatever. But the more that you talk negative about yourself, the less you are going to be able to accomplish these goals and be healthy and stay healthy and keep on track. Because if you're constantly thinking, well, I'm fat, I'm this, I'm that, it makes it difficult to be able to move forward. So with that being said, the holiday season, it's okay to have a little bit of the goodies, but, try to stay on track the best you can. Because we all know that at the first of the year, we try to do resolutions, and that is a difficult thing as well. Yeah, I see Tony shaking his head over there because resolutions seem to always go into the basket within 2 weeks of setting them. So, instead of setting resolutions and doing things like that, make them goals, things that are achievable, things that are within reach. I think sometimes we set our standards and our goals up way, way too high, and that makes it really, really difficult, I should say. So remember, the smaller goals that we can set, it's easier for us to continue to achieve these goals. Sorry, I'm just going to address something right now. I don't know if everybody can see this on YouTube, but this is something that is difficult when you have somebody that is tuning in and asking inappropriate stuff. This is not the podcast for that, so I'd appreciate it if you would jump off of the YouTube. Thank you. Okay, moving forward. Sorry. This is something that, being in the spotlight, a lot of these things happen, so you have to be on being able to continue moving forward. So in life, just like in life, we have things that happen. You have people that are difficult. Continue to move forward. Rise above it. So thank you. He left. All right, perfect. Moving forward. You don't see it, Tony? Okay. Well, that's good. I don't know how. I'm gonna have to take that off eventually, but for those of you that are listening in on solidstateradio.net, you will not be able to see those. But um, it's been, like I said, it's been a difficult week. There's been a lot of things that have been happening, and today was kind of a rough thing to come on the show today and know what to talk about. Um, you kind of, I'm kind of starting to feel like I'm running out of things. So if you guys have any ideas or anything that you would like to see on the show, I'd appreciate, having some inbox messages, whatever, different topics that you guys are interested in hearing, because it's a lot to take on, especially this time of year. And I feel like some of the stuff I talk about, I have kind of touched base on over and over because it's stuff that I've experienced through life. So I'm just trying to figure out what other kind of content that I can bring to you guys. Tony and I have done like a question and answer kind of thing. People have asked questions on YouTube and on Twitch and everything, and that kind of helps too to create some content and talk about different stuff. So, it's interesting to you got it. Thank you. Tony's just over there making sure that things are good to go. So, but with that kind of situation, like I said, being in the spotlight and doing stuff, it always comes with some kind of consequence. They could say stuff about you. People can come on and talk negatively or whatever whenever you're doing something like being in the spotlight or whatever. But that shouldn't keep you from doing stuff. I don't ever want to stop doing the podcast and doing these things, even if I do struggle with having content and stuff like that. I don't want to stop doing this because I know that in the past, a lot of these episodes have reached out to people, and I've had a lot of messages come in thanking me for doing this podcast and to keep moving forward with it. So, I'm thankful for that. I'm very appreciated. A year of episodes, that's just awesome. So, again, I'm going to try to continue to get more people on the show so that I'm able to bring different content and different stories, because there are stories of survivors and things. There's backlog episodes or archived episodes on YouTube that you can look at. I've had some incredible people join me on this show, and I look forward to having more people on as well. So again, it's just trying to work through all of the different things that are happening in life and work through getting guests and different things on. There's a lot of things, and this week I've felt all over the place emotionally. I'm doing a lot of stuff trying to get through work and get through everything else that's going on, and it's interesting trying to navigate. And one of the things I wanted to talk about too is when you are busy and you're getting back to life and doing things that you had time before to be able to do things, but now you are getting back to work, you're doing different stuff. It makes it interesting trying to keep on track of everything that's going on. So for me, I was doing my morning routine where I would get my devotions, my journaling, and different stuff like that, have my coffee, get on my bike, do all kinds of stuff. I had a lot of time to be able to do those. And I kind of feel like I took it for granted because it was just so easy and convenient to do. I'd have a list ready where I could check everything off. It was really good. Made me feel very good about being able to complete everything and still have a little bit of downtime and whatnot. So my schedule has changed up because of going back. And that's interesting to try to navigate through. And I kind of talked a little bit about that, I think, on the last episode and also on Don't Make This Weird. Trying to keep focused and still be able to accomplish those kind of things. I'm still trying to figure out how to get that stuff done in the morning because I wake up way earlier, and now I'm working 10-hour shifts, and to get home and try to fit that stuff in, it's been interesting, and it kind of does throw you off, especially if you're somebody like me who deals with anxiety and different things like that, and not having a set schedule or something like that makes it kind of difficult to keep focused and to keep feeling good about all of the things that you are accomplishing. It just kind of turned it around, so now it's a little bit different. So I'm navigating through that. I'm navigating through the accomplishments of the things that I'm able to get done, and I'm trying to change up Instead of saying I have to, I'm trying to change it up to I get to, because life throws us so many different things, no matter what it is or where we're at, we get thrown so many different things that can throw us off course of the things that we're used to doing and we're used to accomplishing. Whether it is getting sick, or maybe you're off of work or going back to work, whatever it is, it only takes a second for things to change in our lives, and to reroute and navigate sometimes is very difficult. And I give a lot of credit to people that are able to just flip it on a dime and just go with it and roll with it, because that is an incredible thing to be able to do. So, trying to navigate through that, especially with the holiday seasons and the different stuff going. I also do jewelry and whatnot, so it's time to change out for that. Get the Christmas stuff ready, because everybody loves to, not everybody, but a lot of people love to get their Christmas stuff and their winter stuff and everything before the holiday season. So, getting that stuff ready, and obviously working at Bronner's doing ornaments for people and whatnot. It's been crazy, but very rewarding. And that's kind of how I try to look at it, is I get to do this. I get to go and work there, and I enjoy it, because there's a lot of people that still are not at work. So I'm trying to rewire the thoughts in my brain with that, instead of saying, oh, I have to. I have to, because it really does make a difference. Changing it to saying I get to makes me feel a lot better about the things that I get to do. You know, I try to remember, because I've had several second chances with life and whatnot. And I try to remember that, because of having those second chances, I get to. I'm here. I get to. And I celebrate those when I can celebrate those. And, again, being kind to ourselves, taking care of ourselves. I talk about self-care a lot. And in these times, if you are in the busy season yourself in your life, try to make sure, again, that you're taking care of yourself, the vitamin C and all that stuff. Sometimes I feel like I'm running low on being able to, I love to take baths and different things like that. So missing out on doing that stuff kind of throws me off too, but I need to find time to fit in everything. And that can be a challenge as well. It's kind of like trying to reverse put back in pieces from a Jenga. It kind of feels like that. So it's trying to put the pieces back in and not make it fall over, instead of pulling them out, which is interesting. And if you've ever felt that before, you understand exactly where I'm coming from with this. So it's really trying to find time and make time. We all have the same amount of hours in a day, and sometimes that is very, very difficult. But you have to try to prioritize as well. So for me right now, obviously, work is a huge priority. I am only there until January, and when I'm done with that, my season is up, and I go back to being, doing the unemployment thing, because it's a seasonal job, and then trying to find something else to do. It's interesting. And that right there too, I can feel a little bit of depression when I get done with my season. I've been doing this for 6 years. So when the season comes to an end, it's kind of like I go, oh no, I'm not doing that now. What do I do? So then my mind starts worrying about, oh, what do I do here? What happens, So knowing this and dealing with this and doing this for as many seasons as I have, there still is that moment where I'm like, oh, now I'm home. Now I'm not doing work. I'm not doing this. So it's very interesting how the human mind works, and our function, our body, everything that goes along with that. It's interesting how we are made up and how we function. It's crazy when you actually stop and you think about all of the components that make up the thoughts and the things that we do. It's very interesting to look into, because I think about it and I'm like, man, I'm different from a lot of people, but a lot of times I find when I talk about these things that I experience, there's a lot of people that go through the same thing. And knowing that other people go through it, have you ever heard the saying, does that make you feel better? Not necessarily. It doesn't make me feel better that other people have anxiety, depression, seasonal depression, or whatever, or trying to figure out how they get through and navigate through this stuff. No, it doesn't make me feel better, but it is kind of comforting knowing that you're not alone. And that's another reason why I continue to do Survivor Girl, no matter how hard it is to find content or to keep it going, because there's a reason for this show. There is a reason for the people that listen in and tune in and join in and whatnot, because there, whatever it is that I'm talking about, whether it's completely off the wall or whatever I'm talking about that week, there's usually someone that actually goes, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Thank you for talking about that. So, I'm kind of, with everything going on, it's fun to still be able to do this show and do Don't Make This Weird, and continue to do everything that I get to do, because I'm not alone. I don't feel alone in this, and it's great to be able to have the support and the love and everything that drives the force that continues to do all this stuff. It's not just me, it's a whole bunch of people that puts on, not just Survivor Girl, whatever. It could be from having a good morning message to whatever that continues to keep me going, keep me moving. A smile goes a long way. A message when you can. I was going to talk about that as well. With working 10-hour shifts and doing all of this incredible stuff that I get to do, it's hard to keep in touch. And I think about people and I go, wait a minute, I haven't talked to that person in a minute. That's hard. I've got family members that I have not kept in touch with. I haven't, some friends that I haven't been able to keep in touch with. And then I start to go, man, I feel guilty about this. I have not messaged. I haven't done this in a minute. But again, trying to find time, trying to navigate that, and to be able to still keep in touch with people is interesting. If you think about somebody and they're on your mind, a quick little message saying, hey, are you good? Is a good thing. There's sometimes when I get a message from somebody and I'll say, I can't talk right now, I'm at work, but I appreciate you messaging. I appreciate you looking in on me. I appreciate that. Or, not that I'm trying to be like, hey, I'm working 10 hours, but then that way people know I'm not ignoring anybody. I'm not trying to distance because of that. And that's another thing. Somebody who goes through any kind of anxiety, depression, or anything like that, we don't always get a chance to message. We don't always have that energy to message or to talk. So if you know somebody who goes through that, especially this time of year, be a little bit lenient with them, because they might not be able to message right away. There's times that I'll get messages and I won't be able to answer them because I'm just exhausted. I try my very best. I really do, because I would appreciate the same, vice versa on it. But there's just times where you just don't have the energy to have a long conversation. So even if you just say, hi, thank you for checking in, or however you want to navigate that, that goes a long way as well, So navigating through that and keeping in touch with as many people as you can, plus doing everything, it gets a little bit rough. It gets kind of hard sometimes. But, I find the more and more that I can kind of navigate through the 10 hours and the different stuff that I'm doing, I find time in different days where I can actually make that happen. A lot of times for me, I don't like to call or talk to anybody until I know that I can give them full attention. I will message, and it will be a very brief message, but I like them to know I can't give you full attention right now, and that makes it difficult because I want to be able to sit down and have full attention when I'm having a conversation. So there's times when I've had people that I really, really want to talk to, but I haven't had a chance to, because I know that I can't give full attention, and that person really does need that. So it's really hard to navigate all of that stuff, but again, I get to. So I try to change that as much as I can to I get to. Just checking in here. You got anything on Twitch? Nothing happening over there? I'm going to take a drink. That happened. That just popped off over there. Yeah, so trying to be kind to yourself and to be able to navigate through everything is very hard. There was a time when I was able to do graphics and do a daily kind of thing for Survivor Girl on Facebook. It's been a minute since I've been able to do that. When it first happened, when I wasn't able to put those up, because I try to put out positivity the most I can, and I try to do it every single day. I have a thing with messages too that I've talked about on here for a positive morning message. I haven't been able to keep up with that because of everything going on as well. And when it first happened, I was honestly really beating myself up over it, going, why can't I keep up with this? Why am I not doing this? Why can't I do this? I should be able to have 10 seconds to be able to write a message. Sometimes it's just not that easy. It's not, but everybody who I have come in contact about it has been very understanding and very cool about it. So, you have to remember, even when you make up the scenarios in your head that people are going to be mad at you, it doesn't mean that they really are. So, again, with the being kind to yourself and trying to navigate through everything, it's difficult. And with the holiday season, like I talked about, if you're have recently lost somebody, it makes it hard to navigate through it enough with just that going on. I know that I would say the first 3 years of my mom's passing, Christmas, Mother's Day, any kind of little holiday, it was so difficult. When you love somebody that much and they're not with you anymore, it makes it really hard to navigate through the seasons, through the holidays, through all of that. And for me, on Mother's Day, I kind of shut down about, I have in the past. I'm getting better. Like I said, 6 years in, I still miss her every day. I still miss the people that have passed in my family, friends, whatnot. I still miss them, but as the years go by, it does seem to get a little less hard. This year for my mom, when my mom passed on the anniversary date of October 14th, I got to work. I was working. I was doing good. I was, focusing on work. And then, it was brought to my attention that it was that day, which was an incredible thing for me because I dwell on dates so much with things like that, that I was like, oh, it is that day, but I was good. I didn't cry. I mean, and I'm not saying that it's not good to or whatever. You're going to feel the feelings that you're going to feel. But I was so surprised that 6 years in, I'm good. I can talk about her. I don't cry about it when I talk about it. And that's a huge feat in itself. When you lose somebody that you love so much and that you're so like, I don't want to say compatible, but in a way, my mom and me were best friends. We had that bond, and so there's some family or some people that don't have that kind of bond with their mom, their dad. It's different. Some people have more of a bond with their dad than they do with their mom, and it's somebody in your family, uncle, aunt, whatever. Losing somebody, like I feel, and I say this a lot, I feel like they help us in life to learn how to live life, how to do basic chores, how to balance maybe a checkbook, how to pump gas, everything like that, the basics of life, money, getting a job, going to college, whatever it is. We learn that stuff growing up, but we don't learn how to deal with the loss of a loved one. And I've said that often. Like, I don't really know if there is a way to be able to learn something like that, but we don't have that in us because when we lose somebody, we're devastated. It's hard. Even if it's like I was devastated over losing my cat of 17 years. And I was listening to something about that as well, that people don't address that very well, that they don't understand that very well. That it's more common when you lose a family member to be people understand that better than they do of losing a pet, which sometimes some people who lose their pet have a harder time with it than losing a family member. This is just different things that I was reading on and listening to while I was at work. And, I don't think any one of us has the right to say, oh, it's been this long, you need to get over it. Everybody grieves differently, even if it is over a pet, a family member, whatever. Everybody grieves differently. And as we approach the holiday seasons, it is hard no matter where you are at. And I always say too that grief is like a roller coaster. We can be totally fine, walk into the store and see something that, my mom liked bees. Bees were her big thing. I could go into the store and see one and be like, huh. And then I think about her or whatever. I can say that recently we did go into a store, and on the wall there was a sign that said, I love you bushels and pecks. My mom used to say that all the time to me. I love you bushels and pecks and hugs around the neck, all that. And I seen the sign and I stopped for a minute and I felt that, that overwhelming, I'm going to cry, but I don't want to cry right now because I'm around a bunch of people. I had that feeling, and then all of a sudden I was just like, nope. And I smiled about it and said, oh, hi, Mom. Just something like that to kind of change it up. But there's things like that. Grief is very, very odd. When Zach had passed away, I he passed away after Thanksgiving. So the night after Thanksgiving, actually. So when that comes around, I can't tell you how I'm gonna feel because it's different. It's different because I am engaged, and it's been a minute since his passing and everything. But I am engaged now, and it's a totally different kind of experience. Because I was devastated when Zach passed away. I was devastated, and I was just my first question when I went into shock over it was, "What do I do now? What do I do?" And to lose somebody like that, and to get into a relationship, it was over a year after Zach had passed away that I decided to try again, and now it's been 3 years. So um, it's still a really weird feeling because that's different from breaking up with somebody. When you lose somebody that you love, it's totally different than breaking up with somebody. So it's like I still have those feelings. Like I still really, love and miss him and everything. But now I'm in a relationship and it feels like a weird love triangle in a way because I still miss him and I still love him and care about him. And there'll be times when things come up and I'll get a little bit sad about it, grief again, punch you in the gut whenever you're not expecting it. And, but I luckily have somebody in my life that is like, hey, I understand. Can I hug you? Can I help you through this? What can I do to help you? Even put it in his calendar for, the date of when he did pass and his birthday and stuff so he knows if I'm off that day, this is why, that grief, that feeling, and whatnot. So if you've ever experienced something like that, it's different. You never know exactly how it's going to hit you. When he passed away, I found myself sitting out in my car for like a half an hour or so just listening to the radio. And I thought, man, this is strange. What am I doing? Like, why am I not going into my house? It's cold outside. Why? But I've come to find that when he passed away, I joined a Facebook group for young widows and people that have had lost because I was, it was 4 years ago, so I was a lot younger, and I joined that group. And sometimes Facebook groups can be amazing, sometimes not as much. So, with that disclaimer there, you may find a really good group. I did with that Young Widows group. I joined that group, and it was cool because I started to see. I was sad because I heard so many different stories of people losing their loved ones. So that again, with anxiety and stuff, kind of gave me a little bit of a trigger when I got into the relationship with Adam, and I'll explain that in just a minute. But I got to see the different stories of people who had lost and either had moved forward, they call it their chapter two, had moved on to a chapter two, or were dealing with loss and how they were feeling about it, what things were happening to them. And to see that I wasn't alone in that was also another great thing. So, sometimes it works in joining groups like that, and sometimes you just have to step away from it because it's overwhelming. And that can happen. So for me, it was good to see the different stages of everything because I'd never experienced something like that before. So me sitting out in my car listening to the radio like I did, that wasn't just me. I seen that other people were doing that. I'd see he was at that house with me and everything, so I'd see things that happened that were goofy and silly that we were doing or whatever, and I'd picture that stuff, and that was hard too, but and then I seen that there were some people that lost their loved one, completely moved out of the house, didn't want anything to do with it, didn't want nothing. So everybody grieves differently. Some people hold on to clothes and whatever longer, and I'll be honest, when Mom passed away, I had her stuff in my trunk for about 2 years. It went around with me for about 2 years, never went through it, didn't even want to go through it. I had her purse with me, everything like that. I didn't want anything to do with it. I couldn't handle it. I could not physically, mentally, I just couldn't do it. And that some people might have went through it in a month, a week, a day, whatever. I just couldn't do it. I had a big tote, or it was a round barrel actually, full of stuff that she had from us from when we were kids, and different pictures, different stuff like that. For me, that was hard. It took me a long time. When I started it, I knew it wasn't for me. I wasn't strong enough to deal with that at that time. So again, the grief and the different stuff that changes, it's very interesting. So what I was going to say though about going on to a chapter 2, because I don't feel like it's moving on, because you really don't move on, you move forward from something like this. So for me, meeting Adam after this happened was a very interesting thing, because I still, like I said, it wasn't like a breakup. You still love that person, you still miss them, you still care about them. So it was interesting to move from the loss of him to into a relationship. So I would see on the group, this is where the group kind of got a little bit rough for me to still be on. And I would see people moving on, or not moving on, but going on to their chapter 2, and something happening to their chapter 2. So then I started having that anxiety and that worry and like just toxicity from it. Um, I would say for myself, I'm not saying that that's for everybody that it's toxic, but for me, I started having moments, because one of the things that I read about was somebody had asked their chapter 2 to go and get something to eat from Wendy's, and he got in a bad accident and was gone. And then I started having this anxiety about any time that Adam would go and grab something for me, food wise or whatever. Oh no, what if that happens? What if? And so at that point in time, it was time for me to separate myself from that group. I met a lot of people on there that I connected with. I have one of them on there. We are still friends to this day from connecting on there. And I appreciate that. She checks in on me. I check on her when I can. So that was a really, really cool thing. I have a couple people from there that have also moved on to their chapter 2 as well, and are doing great and fantastic. And that right there, that's a positive. But such is life. There's not always a positive all the time. And I try to preach about doing the positive and feeling positive, and, one small positive act in the morning and all that stuff. Sometimes you just can't be positive. Sometimes it's really hard to get that start. But if you can make it through half of the day and you keep on moving forward, that's one of my struggles, is the hours, getting up early, and I get to work and I'm still tired. I could just turn around. I could just go home. I could. But, once I'm there, I get moving, I get going, I get working. I'm like, okay, I made it this far. Keep on pushing through. We can do this, And I kind of feel like that's kind of the story in life. Once you make it, once you get there, once you do this, once you do that. Have you ever experienced once I do this, I need to do this, or I can't do this until I do that? We make excuses about that kind of stuff too, and I've been very, very, very good at that. I can't start my weight loss until Monday because I need salad, I need this, I need that. I can't exercise until I have this, or my gym membership. I can't do this until I have this. Really? Okay. These roadblocks that are easy to step over. It's not like you can't climb over whatever, but it seems like that's a fun thing that we like to do, is make roadblocks for ourselves. So I try to remember I get to. So I was talking about this on Don't Make This Weird, I think last week. There are those Yes Fit. I'm not sponsored by them. There are these Yes Fit virtual races. Some of them that you can do have charities behind them and things like that, which is really, really cool. I'm thankful that they do stuff like that. But for me, I was interested in one. It was 53.3 miles, and I could do it on my bike. And I thought, this is cool. I'm going to do this. And then I seen, well, it's this amount of money, and it wasn't for a charity. So I decided, okay, I'm just going to do this for myself. So I made up my own reward and decided that I'm just going to do it. And sometimes I just have to do it. I don't talk about it. I can't do that because once I start talking about things, it's easy for me to fall off track. And I think a lot of people have that happen. So sometimes you just kind of have to just do it. So for me right now, I am, I think, 13 miles in on the 53.3, and I am going to find time each day because it's good for me. Just like spinach, I think is good for me, and I'm going to continue. These things, like, it's so easy for us to be like, yeah, I could do that, but there's this that I could do instead that is not good for me. And I think we've all experienced that too. And when you've dealt with trauma or anything like that, those excuses sometimes you kind of add those into with what's happened to you. Well, I was depressed because of this, so this happened and then that, and then it's just like this long chain of excuse, and instead of just moving forward and doing the good stuff. I've also seen where there's times when I where I've seen like people getting on Facebook, and this happens more often than most. Facebook, social media, any kind of thing like that. And they are just hammering away at how people are or things that they're doing that are so annoying, blah, 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 whatever. And they're just going to town on these people, like yelling at them, doing these things. And it's like, hey, you could have just stopped and not said anything to them and then just did what you needed to do for yourself. Saved your breath. Just do your thing for you. You would have gotten further in doing what you're trying to do good in your life than going off on these people and things. We're all different. We all have our own opinions. We are very opinionated people. I find that more often than most. But sometimes it's not even worth even wasting the breath on arguing, or going after people when you could be focusing on the positive. Here we go. You could be focusing on the positive stuff in your life instead of going to the negative. Okay, so earlier I had that situation. What happened on Facebook? Tony thankfully removed that. Yes, I gave attention to it, but I wanted to say that because sometimes in life, that stuff happens, opinions happen, things come up, but we have to keep on cruising along. And here I am, still doing the show, even though there was some stuff on there that I could have let just completely stop me and not get me moving forward. And that's the important thing in life. You guys have got to remember things like that are going to happen. People are going to come at you. They're not going to like the same things that you like because, let's face it, not everybody likes the same stuff, Not everybody wants to just drink coffee in a cat cup and a one-piece cat hoodie thingy. Like, maybe I do. I whatever. Don't judge me. Do your own thing. Find your stuff. Find your happy. Do your thing. So that's another thing that I've talked about in the past, is finding your happy and being okay with it. I got ready the other day. With Halloween, I love Halloween. I love the holidays. I love being goofy. I love that I have a light up stitch sweater that I cannot wait to wear because it's getting close to that time of the year. I'm excited about these things. I am like a little kid around this time of year. I love to give presents and to pick out stuff for people, and I have a hard time waiting for them to get these gifts and open them and to keep it a secret. I am such a kid. So the other day we went out on Halloween, and I had this headband that's got like bat wings and little bat ears on it. I'm 40 years old. I don't care. For a minute, I'm like, maybe I shouldn't wear these out. I am 40 after all. Nah, that's silly. So I put them on and I did my thing and I went. And there's another person in our friends that we know that is so colorful and beautiful and amazing and wears whatever she wants to wear. She does whatever she wants to do because she's not hurting anybody. She is a kind, beautiful person. And like I said, very colorful, and I love it. I love it because she does her own thing that makes her happy. And I've talked about this in the past about we kind of get dull and boring as we get older because we think that that's what we're supposed to do. But when I see people that are bright and they just wear what they want and they enjoy themselves, like, I want to be around them people. I'm just like, you are fantastic. I want to be beside you. Like, your energy is amazing, because they're not hurting anybody. They're not, but it's so easy. Like, I heard this a lot growing up, and I love my mom, but growing up, a lot of times she'd be like, I really like that shirt that you're wearing, but I don't want to wear it because I'm this old and it's not age appropriate. What? No. Wear what you want. Like, it wasn't hurting anybody. It was tasteful. It wasn't, there's a time and a place for things. We've talked about that. There's a time and a place for things, but in the same sense though, like I was teasing about the unicorn onesie whatever pajamas. Who cares? If that makes you happy, whatever. You're not hurting anybody. Who cares? Just do stuff that makes you feel good. And I've talked about this several times on the show before. It's hard as we get older because we are so serious. We've got this million things to do, a long list of stuff that we have to do. And I think we take that too serious. We try to get everything on the list done every single day. We push, 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 push. And, we forget to have fun. We forget to dance in the kitchen. We forget to turn up a song that we loved as a teenager because we are too old and our neighbors might get pissed. Who cares? If you honestly are not hurting anybody and it's the middle of the day, crank your music. I love listening to my music and doing my chores or whatever I got to get done. And if I don't get them all done, not the end of the world. Whatever. Who knew? I think we focus too much on the nitpicky things and not getting the things or getting everything done in one day. No, we can't get everything done in one day. It'll be there tomorrow. If someone stops over at my house and it's atrocious, is that the word? I can't help it. It's craft season. I just got done with Shipshawana. My roommate stopped in today, and really sweet. Adam's not feeling good. We were supposed to go hang out, and something happened to where we weren't, and they asked about what kind of snacks that Adam liked. And I said, well, he's been really, really wanting chips and dip, just has a craving for it. That would make him happy. And this was like about 2 weeks ago, I think now, or 3. And he messages, and he says, does Adam still have a hankering for this? And I'm like, yeah, he would eat that. So he stops by and brings it over, went and bought it for him, stopped in, brought it over to help make him feel better. And that kind of stuff is like, oh, thank you. Yeah, it was chips and dips, but chips and dip, but that was a cool gesture. Like, thank you for that. And he stopped in and he came in, and I'm just like, my house looks like the craft store just kind of exploded everywhere, but it's that time of the year, and people that love you understand if you're this beautiful disaster or whatever. They get it, and I explained it. I'm like, yeah, I'm in the middle of trying to get this, and this done. He's like, all right, I'm not here to see your house. I'm here to stop and say hi and give this to Adam. And it's like, okay, cool. Thank you. So we worry about that. I had a second of, oh my gosh, my house. And then I went to, it's okay. It's all right. So give yourself permission to be okay with things and not be perfect. How many times have you stopped in unannounced to other people's houses and it's not been perfect? Has that happened? Am I the only one? Okay. And do you sit there and go, oh my gosh, it looks like they haven't dusted in 2 years? No. You look around, you see, wow, they live like I do. This is incredible. Instead of it being perfect and like home and gardens, like, who does that? I don't think that happens anytime. So some people, okay, there are some people, maybe ones that actually have people that come and clean their house and stuff, maids or whatever, cleaning ladies, men, whatever. But I'm just trying to get comfortable with that and be like, I am doing too many things at once that the house is not always going to be perfect. If you have kids at home, the house is not going to be perfect. It's not going to be. People live differently. Again, the opinions of other people, we all have them, but everybody lives differently too. Their houses are different. I've seen so many different people's houses and the way that they live. There are some people that their houses are immaculate. It smells amazing in there. It looks like they just got done cooking with Martha Stewart. And I'm just like, okay, cool. Whatever, whoever, maybe Snoop Dogg. I don't know. But, the point of it is that, especially this time of year, there is a lot of stuff going on, and they might have getting the tree out. Some people are getting their trees out and getting ready for Christmas now. I'm not ready for that, but more power to you. If that's what makes you happy, do it. If that's what you want. A lot of people are just so excited to be getting done with 2020 that they're like, okay, Christmas now. Let's do it. Let's get it done. And that's fine. Do what makes you happy. That's the thing, is we put too much into worrying about what other people think. There, I said it. We put too much in worrying about what other people think. And I've said this before, and I've talked about it before. I know that. But I feel like sometimes we have to come back to it and talk about it because we put such a high standard on ourselves to be perfect. There's been times, I've talked about this too before, so I'm going to bring it back. There's been times in life where I just haven't had the energy, if I made plans, to be able to do it. And I thought, oh my God, they're going to stop talking to me. They're going to hate me. I've had to cancel again. Sometimes you just can't make it. Sometimes you put too much on your shoulders, you put too much on your plate, and you're like, man, like, for instance, I thought there was a good party that was supposed to happen down at the vault, or not the vault, the man cave. And I said, oh, yeah, that's Saturday. No, it turns out it was Friday. So I had some of my friends thinking it was also on Saturday. And I felt horrible. I was upset at myself. I took on, put too much into it. And they were like, okay, no problem. We'll go next weekend. What? You're not mad? Like, we're not done? You're not done being my friend? No. They were like, okay, it is what it is. It's okay. It happens. We understand. That's incredible. Thank you. Like, whew, I can breathe now. Again, it's putting too much pressure on ourselves sometimes. And I feel like we really need to find that silly. We need to find that I am human. It is okay if I mess up. It's not the end of the world. Just find whatever you can to make yourself happy, especially now. There's so much stuff. There's so much hate. There's so many things going on. I mean, we're getting close to, obviously, the election. I'm not political at all, but you see it, everything. Everybody's tired. Everybody is at each other. Everybody is working over or putting too much stress on themselves or whatever it is. Be kind. Try to be kind to one another. You may not understand why somebody is doing what they're doing, but guess what? It's none of our business, really. Yes, they may put it out there on social media, but it's just easy to just scroll past it, keep on moving, instead of putting too much into it. It's just too much. I've seen people lose friendships this year over stuff like that. I've seen so many things that are just beyond me. And the hate and the things that we're going through in this world right now. Just keep scrolling. Just keep swimming. Just keep scrolling. Try to stay positive. I find it a good practice for me to not talk about political or religion with certain people. Some people are okay with it. Some people, you just don't even want to have that conversation or go down that road. I learned that back when I was doing cosmetology. It's just never good to talk about it because you never know what's going to happen. So, again, you guys, I hope nothing but the best for you guys this week to come. I will see you again next weekend on Sunday at 6. I appreciate you guys joining. I want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Hometown Handmade, in Emily City at 130 East 3rd Street, new location. Christmas stuff is there. If you are ready for Christmas joy, head to the store. They have incredible stuff at the shop. Please go check them out. They are a huge sponsor of us. There are so many artisans that are in there. They make their stuff here in Michigan. It is incredible. Please go check them out. Beautiful, beautiful storefront. All kinds of really great stuff there. And sometimes there are great sales. There's a blanket drawing there happening too right now. And they are helping out with some charity stuff this season as well. So please go check them out. Hometown Handmade at 130 East 3rd Street in Emily City, downtown Emily City, right next to Jalisco's. So thank you guys for sponsoring, supporting, and being so amazing to Survivor Girl, to Don't Make This Weird. Also, we have This Is My Brain podcast. There's so many different podcasts, some really good stuff. Check out solidstateradio.net where they re-air all of the things that we've got going on, which we thank you guys again. If you are one of the listeners from solidstateradio.net, I know you don't get to see my face, my hand movements, all the stuff that I got going on. But you guys can also look or watch on YouTube and on Twitch. And I thank you again for coming and hanging out with me through every up and down and everything I got going on. I appreciate you guys keeping up with me, hanging out, doing this thing. So have a great week. Be kind to yourself. Dance in the kitchen. Don't fall. Uh, do what makes your soul happy. Continue to do that stuff because it is super important. And please be kind to yourself. Remember, you can't get everything done in one day. Maybe if you do, I applaud you. It's incredible. But continue to be kind to yourself and to others. And don't forget, life is best lived.